What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and today I've got a video of the brand new PowerBeats Pro and how they compare to the Apple AirPods 2. So the reason why I'm comparing these is because both are made by Apple technically, and they have a lot of common things, but at the same time they are kind of made for different types of users. And I think the PowerBeats Pro have a few features that the AirPods lack, but at the same time the convenience of the beloved Apple AirPods is almost unbeatable. For starters, that is the price point. The PowerBeats Pro come in at a pretty expensive price point at $250 US, whereas the Apple AirPods 2 without wireless charging is $159, whereas the one with wireless charging is $199. They both have Apple H1, they have the autoplay accelerometers built in for the microphone, but some of the features that the PowerBeats Pro have include up to 9 hours of battery life, a more secure fit for active users, as well as water resistant and a little bit of a different sound experience. These also come in 4 different colors, with one color being available right now, which is the black one, and more coming in the summer, whereas the Apple AirPods come in one color unless you go ahead and get one from Colorware. If you guys would like to win this pair of PowerBeats Pro, just make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and also leave a comment down below, and also make sure you follow me over on Instagram, and when this video hits 3,000 likes, I'll be picking a winner in the comment section of this video. So like I kind of mentioned, in a lot of ways these are similar but also different. This is kind of the pair of earbud that you're just gonna wear every single day on like an office situation, whether you're just on your daily commute, and it's just overall very easy to take in and out, whereas the PowerBeats Pro takes a little bit more time to put on and off, and I also do feel it's definitely made more for workouts, runners, and the active user. I think the first thing that I really want to jump into is the sound quality though, and that is something that I noticed a difference on both pairs, but it is definitely a different experience, and I wouldn't exactly be able to say that one is prominently better than the other. The Apple AirPods have always had pretty good sound quality in terms of the size that it's offered in. I mean, they're 4 grams each side, which is just insane. You're really not gonna find anything smaller. And since it came out in 2017, there really hasn't been anything that has come close to it in terms of its engineering in just such a small form factor. I'm overall very satisfied with the sound quality, and I feel like the convenience factor allows me to want to use these every single day. The sound is relatively clear, the trebles and the mids are good, and the sound is overall very balanced, but there isn't exactly like a prominent bass or anything, and when it comes to noise isolation, it definitely isn't the best, and if you're on a plane, you really can't use these when listening to dialogue in like a movie. As for the PowerBeats Pro, the first thing that you're really going to notice when it comes to design is the fact that because it has these silicone ear tips, it does provide a much better seal and kind of a different soundstage experience. With the 12mm linear piston drivers on these, you find that the soundstage is a little bit wider than what I noticed on the Apple AirPods, and overall I found the sound quality was actually something that I was a little bit impressed by, and over the years since Apple acquired Beats, the sound quality of their products has increasingly been getting better, moving away from the past reputation. The mids and trebles were overall pretty clear, but one thing that I really noticed was that the bass is very prominent. That's definitely a Beats characteristic that has been carried over to the PowerBeats Pro. If the genre of music you listen to has a little bit more bass and that's what you like, then the PowerBeats Pro are hands down going to be the option that you should get. Overall though, I was pretty impressed in the sound quality for a fully wireless earbud, but if you're not into the bass side of things, then you might find it slightly overpowering and might want to go for the Apple AirPods 2, which has a very neutral soundstage. As for comfort, this is kind of the approach of how you're supposed to wear these changes a little bit between each one. The Apple AirPods are really easy in the fact that you just pop them in and they kind of hook onto your ear and hang off of it, and in the past couple years that I've had them, I haven't noticed any sort of discomfort over long periods of time, but at the same time when I was exercising, doing a little bit of running, I never found that they fell out, but this is not the case for everyone. I know some people who just really can't wear Apple AirPods, they fall out, they're uncomfortable, and because there isn't any sort of ear tip or customizable fit, then you really have no choice but to not be able to use Apple AirPods. The PowerBeats Pro on the other hand has this kind of hook that stays on permanently, and they pop on just like this, and they actually do look pretty good around the ear. At first I thought they would look kind of weird, but it does look pretty natural, and with a fully wireless fit, I actually think it does look pretty good. But when it comes to the ear hook, it is definitely something that you do have to get used to, but if you're doing a lot of running or active work, then this is definitely going to be the option for you because they really just do stay secure, and you can customize the ear tip based on the size that you might like. When it comes to weight, the PowerBeats Pro are by no means heavy, but they do come in at 10 grams on each side, whereas the Apple AirPods come in at 4 grams at each side, which is unbeatable. As for some of the buttons, on the AirPods you have the tap features, which are handy and they overall work pretty well, but I don't find myself using it that much, aside from taking them out and having the music automatically pause, whereas the PowerBeats Pro have a button for you to play, pause, and skip, as well as a button to control your volume as well, and that is definitely something that I prefer over just the top settings. Another feature that the PowerBeats Pro have is an official IP rating. It's IPX4, which is water and sweat resistant, which the Apple AirPods do not, but from working out with the Apple AirPods, I haven't had any issues with them whatsoever in the past, and I've even heard stuff about people putting them through the washer and they still work fine afterwards, but having the official IP rating is nice. The next category is the battery life, and that is a category that the PowerBeats Pro really does excel at. You've got up to 9 hours of battery on this, as well as 5 hours on the Apple AirPods, and that is theoretically based on around 50% listening volume, which is pretty low in my opinion. So when it came to using these closer to the 75% volume, I found myself getting anywhere from 6 to 7 hours pretty easily, whereas the Apple AirPods I often get between 3 and 4, which is still very solid. Inside the case itself, it gets you just around 2 full charges, which is pretty much the same as what you get on the Apple AirPods. When it comes to the case though, this is where you might find a little bit of a bigger difference. When you look at the Apple AirPods, you've got like a little floss case, whereas the Beats Pro has kind of a large case to it that I wouldn't exactly say would fit well in your pocket. It's more of a backpack case. Whereas this, pop it in your pocket, and a lot of times it slides out and you lose it. But just looking at it side by side, it is literally not comparable, and one thing that is in common between both of them is the fact that you have the battery indicator on the outside, as well as a lightning port and lightning cable included for charging. Even though the Apple AirPods are very easy to lose, including the case and the earbuds themselves, I still very much do prefer the tiny little case to be able to pop them in and out very easily. So when it comes to microphone quality for calls, both of these pair of earbuds have accelerometers that kind of curate to the direction where the speech is coming from. The dual beamforming mics on both of them sound pretty good, and Apple did make an improvement on the Apple AirPods too, and I did find that the sound quality overall when making calls on both of them is very solid. If there was a difference between them, I really couldn't notice it when it came to making calls, and overall they've done a pretty good job in isolating background noise. So at the end of the day, do I think these are worth $250, and do I recommend them over the Apple AirPods? And the answer really comes down to what you really need, but there are definitely other alternatives out there that are a much better value. So when it comes to fully wireless earbuds, nowadays you have the choice between Samsung, which is a pretty solid offering, as well as Jabra, which I think is the best overall experience in terms of sound, but they're probably the ugliest. But you're paying a premium for both of these being an Apple product and a Beats/Apple product for the PowerBeats Pro. Do I think these are worth $250? And the simple answer would be no. I do think they are a little bit overpriced, but the sound quality is good, they look good, and it is a Beats product, which is something that you always have to keep in mind. And for people who really love Beats products or need something for active use, then I do think you might be able to justify these over a longer period of time. The Apple AirPods though I feel like are a little bit more versatile. You can use them on an everyday basis, whether you're in your office or just taking the bus, and you still want to be able to hear your surroundings without being completely plugged out of it, whether you're in traffic. It's just a little bit safer, and you can use them in more places just because of how small and kind of discreet they are, and kind of the fact that society has gotten over how ugly they are when they initially released. If you really want some good alternatives though, then the Jabra Elite 65T is a good one, as well as the Jaybirds, which I've recommended for many years now, but those are not fully wireless unless you go for the run. I have to say though, after trying these out in person, I'm definitely going to try to use them a little bit more when it comes to exercising, using them on flights, because one problem that I've had with the Apple AirPods is that I tend to drop them. I drop the case, they get stuck in between the seats and stuff, and these just seem to have better seal overall, which might be able to replace my wired earbuds that I use on flights. Others, if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop them down below, and thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.